This is Perspectives, the show where an examination of our many differences often shows us how much we have in common. I'm Condace Pressley. Electronics, always big gifts any time of the year, whether it's the just past holidays, birthdays, anniversaries. People are getting new tablets, smartphones, smarter television sets. Now, some of you may remember how the internet blew up when that video, Hello, from Adele came out, and she was using a flip phone. Everyone was like, who uses a flip phone anymore? Actually, many of our parents use flip phones to make phone calls. Wouldn't it be so much better if we could get a text from an older parent from their smartphone, if they could Skype with the grandchildren, if they're in another city, watch YouTube, or know how to use all of the cool things that a TV would do? Well, there is a nonprofit group here in town which takes the time to educate our seniors and others who have a phobia about smart technology. The mission of Bluehair Technology Group is to help our parents connect and communicate with family and friends. And joining us is Jane Ratliff. She is the executive director of Bluehair Technology Group. Jane, thanks for, I don't want to say hobbling in because you rode in today to do the program, but it is good to see you and to have you in to talk about your work.
It is a pleasure to be here. Really excited.
So tell me about the founding of Bluehair Technology Group and that passion for helping seniors be smarter with all the technology that surrounds us.
Well, there absolutely is a story behind why I started Bluehair Technology Group, and it has to do with my mother. 4 years ago, it was her 86th birthday, and my brother called me up and said, I think Mom needs an iPad. And I thought to myself, here's a woman who never has used any piece of technology in her life, has depended totally on my father for anything coming from the internet or from the computer. But he said that he really thought that it was important that she learned how to use it so that she could stay in touch with her grandkids and just be more, involved and aware of what's going on with technology since people are communicating that way. So I said, okay, you get her the iPad. I will give her 3 months of weekly, hour-long lessons, because I knew there would be no way she'd figure out how to use the device. So that progressed, gave her the lessons, and it was during that time when I was able to get someone who was totally uneducated about anything like an iPad, and get her to the point that she was able to, by the end, she could send and receive emails, that she could send text messages, that we opened up a Facebook account, we started playing Words with Friends, and she started playing with other folks with Words with Friends, and I realized that there was a huge generation, not just the World War II generation, but a huge generation of the population that really is clueless, and there are no places for them to go and get help, the type of help that they need. And so I decided that I would start this organization.
Now, it takes a tremendous amount of love, patience, and compassion to teach these things to your own parent. Now you're doing it with strangers?
It's actually easier. And all of us, and anyone listening will relate to this, the trying to teach your parent how to do anything or any time you try to teach someone within your own family, typically it doesn't go well. There's just a lot of tension that goes along with it. And so my recommendation is, unless you have a huge amount of patience, do not try to teach your parent how to use technology, but really give us a call if you're in the Atlanta area, or find out if there's resources for you, because that situation usually doesn't go very well between a parent and a child. It's just much better to have an outside person who's going to be patient and help them succeed and feel successful. That's the most important thing.
So with this nonprofit that you've started up, the Bluehair Technology Group, are you a standalone building where you host classes and people come in to see you? Or is it the kind of situation where someone will hear about this and say, wow, this would be really great, say, for our Sunday school class at church? We've got a wonderful group of seniors who would like to communicate better, would love to Skype with the grandkids. Do you guys travel? How does it work?
Yeah, the latter is correct. We do not have currently a standalone building. Maybe that will happen in the future. But currently, we go to where the seniors are. So we go to senior living communities. We go to churches, as a matter of fact. We're starting at synagogues as well. We go to senior centers and adult activity centers. So right now I'd like to say we go to where the seniors are, and we host the classes at those locations, and the seniors come with their devices ready to learn.
Is there a fee for the services that your group offers?
There is a fee for the services, and and I don't want to sound vague about it, but it depends on where we have the class. Some of the senior living communities cover the entire cost, so it might not be anything. But let's say we go to a senior center, an older activity center in Johns Creek. The per class, we have an hour-and-a-half class. We typically have a series of classes. So if you're trying to learn the iPhone, you don't learn it in one day. We do hour-and-a-half classes over a 4-week period, and those classes at that location, it's $10 per 1.5-hour class. So for 4 classes, it would be $40. And what's great about our classes, not only do we guarantee that you're going to learn how to use your device better and do things you never thought you could do, but we have written our own curriculum. We have phenomenal instructors that know what it takes to teach somebody something new, an old dog, new tricks, as well as we have a nice group, about 250 volunteers in the area, and we always have several volunteers in our class to make sure every student understands what's going on and is able to keep up with that instructor.
How do you get your students past the technology anxiety curve that I'm sure exists?
The biggest thing really is in the beginning. We tell them, let's just use the iPhone or the smartphone, just the smartphone, for example, or anything, the tablet as well. What we tell them is you will not break it by touching buttons, by trying stuff. You will not break it. The only way you can break is if you drop it and it shatters. But we tell them that they have to touch it, they have to play with it, they will not break it. Everything is recoverable 99.9% of the time. Obviously, we show them how to back up and all that stuff, but usually you're right. It's about the fear of I'm going to do something wrong, and we always tell them you're not going to do anything wrong. You can touch this, you can move things around. These devices are set up and made in a way that you can't mess up the device. And if you do a little bit, it's pretty simple for someone to come in and make it all better. So their best bet is to play with it and touch it as much as possible.
You teach for both platforms, for people who have iPhones or iPads, as well as people who may be on the Android platform. And I hope I'm not scaring anybody away with the words. Those words, but basically people are either on an Android with a smartphone there, the Google people, or with the iPhone or the iPad. So you teach both?
Yes. We teach, and that's a very good point as well. Our classes are separate. We teach iPhone classes, we teach iPad classes, we teach Android. Android is the operating system. Usually it's going to be your Samsung phones, your LG phones, and so we teach Android classes, Android smartphone, Android tablets. We also teach Facebook classes, and a Facebook class, you can come with any type of technology. So we teach Facebook classes, which are always fun, and we also have Windows 10 classes for people who have laptops and need just a little bit of help understanding how to navigate the new Windows 10 desktop.
Knowing the various things that you teach, what has been the greatest reaction or feedback that you've had from some of the senior students in the Bluehair Technology Group technology classes?
Yeah. It's an amazing experience to be in the class, and that's why I love to be able to teach or at least observe, because the reactions are typically joyful. It's childlike almost, because you think you get into an older age, over 50, over 60, there's not a lot of experiences that you have that are like totally brand new. Well, when they get involved and they start doing things with their devices, it's just joyful. They laugh. It's fun. I had an experience with a woman who was 88 years old, had a brand new iPhone 6 Plus. She was in our class and was just trying to understand it. At 88, it takes a little while to understand what's going on. The only thing she wanted to learn how to do is text message. And so we showed her, we were doing text messages, and I showed her, I said, and luckily she had her contacts. She had her son in her phone book. So I showed her how to tap on that, and we found her son, and we just wrote a little message, something like, I'm sending you my first text or something like that. And she sent it. And not more than 1 minute later, her son, who was at work, busy, I'm sure, responded. And first of all, she was so excited about that. But what he said something like, "Mom, I got your text, and I am so proud of you."
Absolutely.
And it was emotional for that woman. She teared up. It teared up from joy, I'm sure, but it was just overwhelming to her that, first of all, she was successful. She accomplished something that she wanted to accomplish, and her son was proud of what she had done, and there was communication instantly.
Walk us through the priorities of what might be taught in a smartphone class.
Yeah.
So you just shared with us that one of the first things that you worked with one student was being able to text back and forth with the family. And I know my mom is a text person now, and it is awesome, amazing, and we just love it.
It is awesome and amazing. So let's say a typical 4-week class is the first thing we do in the first day, and our classes, we have 2 types, but let's say it's the basic 4 weeks. So it's the first 4 weeks. The first day really is let's get used to the phone and the buttons. What do all the buttons mean? How do you use the
Or
touch?
actually icons, because we don't have buttons anymore.
Right, you're right. But icons. But they're around the outside, like your volume button, your power button. How do you get back to the home screen? We teach them some terminology. We show them how to go into the settings apps and increase their font size, maybe increase the duration before the screen goes black. Things that we know are annoying to seniors that you need to make a couple changes. We show them how to connect to Wi-Fi so they're not always using their data plan. So and the keyboard, how to use the keyboard. So the first day is a little bit about let's just get comfortable with the phone. The next class, we have found that text messaging is very important, and a lot of times the seniors don't realize it, but once they realize that, they get it. So the second week is contacts, though. Because without contacts in your phone,
you got nobody to talk to.
You have nobody to call, you have no one to email, and you have no one to text unless you have contacts. And it's amazing to me how many seniors have a phone with no contacts stored. So we really work on how to do that. And how to add your contacts, how do you add a contact from missed call, because it's easy. Then that same day, after we get some contacts in there, we talk to them about text messaging and how you can text message people. The third week, we get involved with we usually go over text messaging again, but the big thing is maps, GPS. How do you use your phone to get you places? And how do you use your phone to get turn-by-turn directions? Because that's another thing that's extremely powerful to them. And they don't understand how to make that work. They don't understand how to make it talk to them, And then the last series of the 4 typically is the other very important thing, which is pictures. How to take pictures, how to take videos, how to share a picture after you've taken it. How do you send it in a text message or email? And then we also do the reverse. If a daughter is sending pictures of grandbabies in text messages to a grandmother, we show her how to save that on her phone. Otherwise, she's flipping through text messages.
And you don't want to do that.
Trying to find that picture. So that's the first 4 weeks. That's our basic class for the iPhone. Obviously, if it's for a smartphone. If it's a tablet class, we don't. Oh, and we also another thing we do in that first we teach them all about the phone app itself, because there's a lot of features of the actual phone app, how you can send calls immediately to voicemail, how you can mute the button immediately, how you can see who called you. There's a lot of things, how you can add people as favorites. So we also talk a lot about the phone app itself. So that's what we do.
So then you said you've got 2 types of classes. You've described one of the first 4-week sessions.
Right.
Jane, what is the second?
Second one is a little bit, I call it, it's not really more advanced, it's just another series. We have found that what we do in the first 4 weeks are typically the most important things to people. But then the next 4 series would be at the App Store or the Play Store, depending on what you have. How to find apps, how to download apps, and then how to use the apps. So we usually pick out a couple ones that they might find to be interesting. But the apps, amazingly, again, people, unless they understand that they can download apps, there's never any new apps on their thing. And then that gets us into a very challenging situation, which is people don't remember their passwords, their Apple passwords. And that's a whole nother thing about trying to manage and help people manage passwords. But we do the App Store. Then after the App Store, we go into FaceTiming. You'd mentioned Skyping, but if we're on iPhones and things like that, we do FaceTiming, which they love, or Skype if we're on the Android, and we show them how to do those things. And we also get into Siri and how Siri, and I don't know what Google's person's called, but how you can speak commands, how you can speak text messages, and they love that. Then we'll go into music. We'll show them the music app where they can listen to free music. This is just like a radio type thing, where they can Pandora or the music app, and then we'll get into entertainment type things. How they can, like on a phone, you're not going to watch movies, but you can get into movies, and then just various other types of apps that we're aware of that people like. So it goes from sort of like functionally, how does the device work, to how do you consume information? Oh, the internet. Then we also show them how to use Safari or how to get on the internet and actually do internet searches and find information.
Talk to me about the age range of senior student that you have in these types of classes that Bluehair Technology Group teaches.
I would say the majority would be 70 years of age up. 70 to like early 80s is the majority, but we teach ages 55 up to 93, 94.
We're talking to Jane Ratliff. She is the executive director of a great nonprofit here in the metropolitan Atlanta area. It is the Bluehair Technology Group. They go into the community, senior centers, churches, synagogues, working with our parents, senior citizens who want to be more technically savvy, but we don't have the patience to teach. It's better to have somebody else to work with them, and learning the basics to some of the many things that a smartphone or a tablet will do. Jane, I was watching 60 Minutes the other night, and Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, talked about how a smartphone, the iPhone today, has more power and will do more things than even the very first MacBook they invented did. So my question to you is, because the opportunities and the things that a phone or a tablet can do are endless, do you find that there is like a point where you want to limit what we teach our seniors, because sometimes the information is overwhelming and they could be on overload and forget some of the very basic things that they really want to learn?
Yes, absolutely. That's what I think. That's what I believe our experience is. We've been doing this for 4 years, and we know what they want to learn, the majority. So we come with the agenda. Now, we do research. We have focus groups. We bring people in and find out what other things would you like to learn. And if we get a consensus around some new technology, some new way of doing things, then we would incorporate that into our curriculum. Another thing that we do is, and you're right, I mean, there's always things that are being invented. So you have to make sure that what's relevant, what's important to the senior, you're teaching them. What's going to, But right now what we're hearing is, I've got this phone, no instructions came with it, and I have no clue how to use it. So we're just doing basic things. However, we do have what I'll call one-off sessions. Sometimes we'll have just a one day, 2-hour session where we go into detail on a specific topic, such as podcasting. Podcasting. They don't understand what podcasting is, but there's millions of radio, I'll call them radio shows, but podcasts out there, both audio and video, that that age group would just love to know about, understand how to search, how to find them, how to listen to them. I actually bought some little earbuds for the next class that we do, because they can obviously hear things much better through the earbuds. But so that would be an example of something that's not basic, but something that the content is unbelievable, and seniors or older people, just like younger people, are continual learners. They want to continually learn, and podcasts is a wonderful opportunity for them to be able to listen to tremendous content for free on their device.
And teaching our seniors to use this technology, engaging that brain, because they are constant learners. The sharper we stay, the older we get, the better off we are fending off some of those senior-type ailments that often, feign us.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a huge thing. I mean, staying connected to family and friends is huge, but in addition, there's so many other benefits. I mean, reducing isolation, because you have access to so much. Loneliness, you don't have that loneliness fact because you have access to so much, and you're keeping your mind sharp, whether it's with, like I mentioned, the podcasting, whether it's downloading books and being able to read books.
Playing words with friends.
Playing bridge online. I mean, it's amazing stuff that's out there. And the other thing that I think is important is they feel relevant. Keep feeling relevant is important as you get older. You feel relevant. You're in touch with what's going on in the world. That's just very, very important.
And you're engaged. You said that you teach social media. You teach Facebook. Are there other social media applications that you teach? One that comes to mind that I think would be interesting for seniors is Pinterest. I mean, there's 1,001 different ideas and pretty things to see.
Absolutely. We haven't taught that one yet, and that would be a great one. Probably geared more. Would you agree? Women would probably be very excited about Pinterest. I'm not sure about the men, but we haven't done Pinterest
I've seen a lot
yet.
of Harley motorcycles and other guy things on some Pinterest pages.
I would have to, maybe I could bring you in as that. I'd have to get somebody who could really show me some of the really cool stuff about Pinterest, because that's not something I follow, but I absolutely agree with you. From arts and crafts and just fun stuff, I'm sure people spend endless hours looking stuff up on Pinterest. So that's another great one that I think could be a great class.
So Jane, we know that Bluehair Technology Group will come to us if we would like to invite you out and spend some time teaching technology to a group of seniors. How might people contact you all and get you in the house? Yeah,
so there's a couple ways. Obviously, picking up the phone and calling me is perfect. 770-696-9808. You can call us, or you can visit us online at www.bluehairtech.org.
BluehairTech.org.
.org.
What a great service that you're providing.
Thank you. We love it. We have a lot of fun. And we can absolutely use volunteers. If you'd love to be a volunteer, go to the Bluehair Tech website, bluehairtech.org website, and you'll see a menu item that says volunteer, and it's very easy to sign up to be a volunteer. As soon as you sign up to be a volunteer, you'll see all of the classes that we have scheduled coming up in January, February, and March, and you can select a date and a time that works for you. And it's real simple to be a volunteer. You just need to know technology and have a little patience.
Jane Ratliff, Bluehair Technology Group, thanks so much. Perspectives is a half hour we produce with you in mind. If there's something you think we ought to be talking about, let me hear from you. Tweet me. My handle is Condo29 on Twitter, or leave a message on our Facebook page. We do appreciate your listening and hope you'll be back next week at this same time as we examine another perspective.